Morning friends, how are you? Hope you're well. I'm here today to do some book reviews for you. I have 6 books that I got from Netgalley and the publishers to review, and I thought what I would do is I'd just do one video that reviews them all. So I'm going to do it so that you'll see a picture of the book, and then I talk about it, picture the book, talk about it. So I hope you enjoy this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do them now in the order in which they were published or will be published. So the first book I have to talk to you about is Puppy Kisses by Lucy Gilmore. This was given to me, if you're wondering what I've got my notebook here. This was given to me by Netgalley and SourceBooks Casablanca, so thank you very, very much. And this was published, actually it's been published, it was published on the 1st of July. This book is the 3rd book in a series, and yes, you can read it as a standalone as I did because I hadn't read the ones before. But it may be more helpful to have actually read the first 2 before this one. This book concentrates on Dawn and Adam. Adam is virtually blind, and Dawn is, along with her 2 sisters, is a therapy dog or like guide dog trainer. They do, it isn't just for blind people, they do it for all the people that need like service dogs, I think that's what they call them. So she trains dogs to help people who need help. And Adam's a farmer. He lives on a farm with his brother and sister, and Dawn is actually a friend of his brother Zeke. And she persuades Zeke to help her basically rescue a puppy, but I think the owner sees it more as stealing, because this puppy is being abused. And to evade the police, they say that they're taking the puppy to Adam to become his service dog. And this story is the story of Dawn and Adam working together with the dog that Dawn basically rescued, plus another dog that she takes because she actually wants the rescued dog for herself. So this is their story and how they work together to get the dogs trained, what happens between the 2 of them, and also there are a couple of neighbours that come into the story. Also, Dawn's sisters come in. I have to say that I did enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. That was my star rating. What I did find, there was one point that Dawn and Zeke had, I don't know whether you call it an argument or a discussion. It was a sort of mixture of the 2, but there were things that Zeke said that I was like, no, you shouldn't have said that. That was not nice to say. It may be, you were being really, really harsh to Dawn, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that part of his personality. So that kind of that was a bit, And then I felt that Dawn's sisters basically left her to do a lot of the work with the puppies and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, a minute, the 3 of you are supposed to be in this together. Why is Dawn being left to do all the work? Okay, you have your own families or your whatever you're doing, but I thought, well, if you're in business together, shouldn't you all be pulling together to work together? So those were kind of 2 things that grated a bit for me, but it was well written, characters were well drawn out. I loved the neighbour bee, she is brilliant. Great cookie old lady, brilliant, loved her. And I liked Dawn, I thought she was great, I thought she was a great character. She was bubbly, effervescent, but that maybe wasn't what she was like. And then, Adam is the solid bloke. But no, I actually really enjoyed the book. I would recommend it. I would probably recommend, although I haven't read the other 2 books in this series, I think I'd probably recommend them as well, because if they're anything like the first one, then you're on to a winner. So again, thank you very much Netgalley, SourceBooks and Lucy Gilmore for allowing me the art copy of this to read. I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you. The next book I want to talk to you about is A Summer of Surprises by Judith Kleim. I was given this again by Judith, Netgalley, and Wild Quail Publishing, and I have to say thank you very much for this book. I loved it. This was my first Judith Kleim book, and it will not be my last. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This book is about Gillian, her sister Crystal, their mother, and various other characters. Now, Gillian works as a teacher, and she feels that for the summer she would like a break from where she's living. Her sister Crystal phones her and says, look, my friend is having her house down in Florida redone. It's next to a beach. It's a beautiful cottage, but she wants somebody there just while the contractors are in doing the work. Would you be willing to do it? And Gillian just jumps at this chance. She's like, yeah, absolutely. I'd love to do that. Yeah, great. So she envisages a summer of lying on the beach, reading, and just generally relaxing and enjoying the community. She arrives to find that she's actually, unbeknownst to her, she's having to look after the contractors because one of them is living in the house. When she arrives, he's like, oh, the laundry's there, food's there, I need my dinner at. And she's like, wait a minute here. This isn't what I signed up for. But she goes with the flow, and then he breaks the news to her that, well, actually, there's somebody else coming to live in the house as well, and they're bringing their kid. So she's like, whoa. But decides, well, I'll go with it, fine. You know, I will do what I need to do, cook the meals, blah-de-blah, but it still gives me time to myself. As she's exploring the town that they're in, she meets new people, and she ends up doing something that summer that she never envisaged she would do because of the child that the other construction worker brings with him. And she really gets to know the people in the community, actually falls in love with the community. And she's just sort of settling into life and everything and really enjoying it when her sister Crystal phones and says, right, I'm coming back from Europe now. I'll be at the cottage at... And she's like, well, what's going on here? So Crystal comes and delivers a bombshell, and then so Jill now has to support her sister during this period, and Crystal doesn't really want to tell her mother, but they end up telling the mother, so the mother arrives as well. Thankfully the construction people have left, but they're still friends, you know, they've all become friends, which is really nice. And it then becomes the story of Jill, Crystal and their mother, and how, you know, the family dynamics work, why the family dynamics have been the way they are, and it's them coming back together as a unit. I have to say it was so well written, and I loved the way that the story just unfolded. The characters were so well done. I loved Gillian. I think she was a brilliant character, and I just hope that isn't kind of the end of her story. I hope that there'll be more of her story, because it's been left so open that there is more to come, and I really hope that happens, because I want to know what happens next. I really do. It was like one of these books that I honestly couldn't put down. I was like just going. I think it's a book that you would pick up in the morning, and honestly you would read it right the way through till the end. And this book is being published on the 23rd of July, so it's actually the day I'm recording this. This book is being published, and I have to say, guys, go get it. It is so good. Yeah, I couldn't recommend it highly enough. So I hope you go out and buy it and really enjoy the story. The next book is called Tea and Treachery, and it's by Vicki Delany. I was given this book by Netgalley, Kensington Publishing, and Vicki, thank you so much for this again. I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is a cosy mystery, and it concerns Lily, who's our main character, her friend Bernie, and her grandmother Rose. Now, Rose runs a B&B. At least she thinks she runs a B&B. Lily does the majority of... She basically cooks the breakfasts. But I think Rose does other bits and pieces, but that's never kind of mentioned what Rose actually does. But you kind of get the impression that Lily's running most of it. but also Lily in the grounds of the B&B, it's a huge garden, so Lily runs a tea shop, a tea and cake shop, and you know, it's like they talk about the pairing of the tea with whatever they're eating, and I'm not joking, made me hungry. And it's like made me think, well, I wouldn't mind trying that tea, quite fancy that, quite fancy this. And actually one of the teas that is mentioned is chocolate mint tea, and I thought, well, how the heck do I do that? And I've discovered how to do it. I'm going to tell you at the end, because I think I need to talk about the book first. So adjoining Rose's property is another house. Now this house is in a dilapidated state, and the person that owns it, or one of the people that owns it, wants to sell it. And the person that wants to buy it wants to put in like a hotel, condos, etc, etc. And Rose is so against this. This is like, wait, whoa, no, this isn't happening. Now Rose, you have to understand, is, I think, about an 80-year-old feisty grandmother. She is like, you know, she'll kick some ass basically. And she's like so against this. And she has a confrontation with the person that's selling, the person that wants to build the hotel, etc., and the counsellor that is backing the idea. Now, one of them ends up dead. You know, it's a cosy mystery, somebody's got to get killed off. So one of them ends up dead, and the police are trying to frame Rose for the murder. So Lily and Bernie set out to basically clear Rose's name. And this is the story. It's them putting things together. But I have to say, Rose was involved in this as well. She was like, I'm not sitting back and doing nothing. So she goes out and helps them. And it is just delightful. The characters are so well written. And they are just, Rose is so funny. I really, really enjoyed that character as this feisty woman who is like, well, I'm not backing down, you know. And I was like, oh, brilliant. And I could see sort of Lily going, Granny, don't, you know, you could kind of picture it in your head going, oh God, Granny, no, don't say that, please don't say that, no, don't do that. And kind of Bernie going, you go girl, you know. So it was very much that play off, and I really, really liked it. And I also liked the fact that you got to meet the people who came into the tea shop, and as I say, there was a lot of talk about the pairings of the teas and stuff like that, and it was really, really good. I hope that there's more from this series, because I think there should be. It was really, really well written. So onto my tea. Yeah, mint and chocolate tea. I've just discovered it's so easy. Tea bag of whatever brew you want. I have to say I used bog standard builder's brew that we get over here in Scotland, because it was all I had at the time. And then I added 1 teaspoon of mint chocolate, hot chocolate to it. Boiled the kettle, bunged it in, stirred it round, took the tea bag out, and hey presto, it was gorgeous. It was so nice. So that was good, but also the back of the book, you get some recipes. That was great. That I like books that give you that as well. So would highly recommend this one, folks. You know, if you want a cozy mystery that's got some feisty women in it, this is the one for you. The next book I want to talk to you about is Come Home to Deep River by Jackie Ashenden. This is due for publication on the 28th of July. I gave this one a 3.5/4 out of 5. I found it fairly slow to begin with, and it built momentum as it went along, so it was good. So this story is about Silas and Hope. Now, Silas and Hope were childhood friends, along with another boy called Cal. And Cal's family own Deep River. They own the whole town, everything. And we learn at the beginning that Cal unfortunately dies, but he leaves Deep River to Silas and to Silas's friends. So the friends decide that Silas has to come back to Deep River to tell the family, or to tell the whole town, They now own it, and there's a complication within that I'm not going to reveal. So he comes home, and he hasn't been back since he left. And Hope remembers him. Hope remembers the hurt and the anger that she felt when he left. And she won't talk to him. And he's like, but come on, you're the one person I want to talk to. You're the one person that I know will help me do what I have to do. And to begin with, she's like, no, go away, get lost. But she comes round. And this story is basically their story and how the complications with him owning the rights to the town now and what has been found has such a huge impact, not only on him, but also on Hope and also on other members of the town. It's how the town deals with this and also how they, as individuals, deal with it. The characters were very well portrayed. I thought, the angst that Silas had was so good. The fact that he wanted to do the best thing for everybody in the town and the town itself. Hope was very reluctant and very reticent, and she sort of fought him and their attraction to each other. She fought that like a tooth and nail. It was like, no, this is not happening. And that was very, very well portrayed. That was, you could see the goings on in her mind. You could see her like, oh, I really don't want this, but yeah, I do want this, I don't know, I don't. And you could really sort of, you felt for her. It's like, well, you really do need to make up your mind, girl, what you want. And I just think that was so well done. The other characters within the town were well done. And I really did enjoy it. Again, it's been left wide open that there can be another book in this series, and I hope there is, because I would really like to know what happens, because I want to know what the eventual concluding end is. But I would highly recommend it. I really would. It was a well written story. As I say, slow to begin with, but then picks up. And no, go get it when it comes out. The next book I'm going to talk to you about is The Friendship List by Susan Mallery. This was given to me by Netgalley, Susan Mallery and Mills and Boon. So thank you very, very much. I gave this book a 4.5, 5 out of 5 stars. This book is about Ellen and Unity. Now, Ellen is a single mum with a son who's a junior at high school, about to become a senior. And Unity is her friend who is grieving the loss of her husband. And Unity, we discover that the husband has been dead for 3 years. So Unity is not moving on for whatever reason. She seems happy enough in her life doing what she does as a job. She runs her own business. She has friends in this complex for older people who maybe need help living, or it's just basically an older generation community. And she's friends there, and she goes to activities there, etc., etc. But things come to a head, and Ellen and Unity come up with this list to basically, their friendship goes a wee bit awry, and it has to get it back. They come up with this list of things that they have to do and prove to each other that they've done it, to show that basically Ellen wants to show her son that she's moving on, that she's okay to live without him, etc. Unity is doing this list to try and prove to people that she can move on. And there are things in it like skydiving. There are things like have a tattoo. So you've got that part of the story going along. It's the main sort of theme. As side shoots, Ellen goes with her son and the high school coach who she's friendly with, Keith, and a lot of other seniors, including Keith's daughter Lisa, that Ellen's friendly with, as is her son. And they're doing this tour of universities so that the kids can see what they are, and see if they want to apply there, the following year. Keith is very protective of his daughter, maybe too much so at times. So you've got that interplay. You've also got the interplay between Keith and Ellen as best friends, but could there be more to it? You have that side shoot as a story. You then have this a side shoot story of Unity, and one of her friends at the senior living complex, Dagmar, has this nephew Thaddeus, and it's now then the story of Unity and Thaddeus and what happens between them. So you have like 3 stories, as I say, going together into one, and it is so well written, and the characters are, you can believe the situations they're in. It is so good. This is my first Susan Mallery. It will definitely not be my last, because I really like her way of writing. I like the way she draws her characters. I like the situations that they're in, and the way she works her way through those situations. So I would highly, highly recommend this as a read for the summer, folks. Yeah, definitely go get it when it comes out. You will not be disappointed. The final book I have to talk to you about today is called Paws and Order, and that's by V.M. Burns. I was given this by Netgalley and Kensington Publishing, and I have to say again, really, really enjoyed it. I love V.M. Burns as a writer. She is so, so good. This story is to do with Lillian and Dixie. Now, Lillian has a poodle, and she's helping Dixie with this, how can I put it, fundraiser. I think it would be the best way to term it. Fundraiser for poodles and abandoned poodles. And Dixie is like really a strong character. She's a go-getter. Lillian is slightly more reserved, and they're having this big fundraiser at Lily's place of work, which is an art gallery, and she sees this scruffy looking guy trying to get admitted, and she goes to Dixie like, come on, can you try and help get rid of him, please? But it turns out that this guy is super, super wealthy and loves dogs and wants to be part of, the fundraising. So that's great, no problem there, and he comes in and he chats to everybody, blah, blah, blah. But there's a murder, because this is a cozy mystery. So the story then unfolds of Lillian and Dixie trying to discover who murdered this scruffy old man and why. But he has this most adorable puppy poodle that Lillian ends up having. And various things happen to her family, because her daughter comes back to help. And it's basically an amateur sleuths trying to work out why this guy was killed. And it is very, very good, because you get the dogs involved, you get Lillian's daughters involved, Dixie is involved, and it's just, there are various other people as well that they have. Dixie runs like puppy training classes, so all the puppy training people come and help, and you just get all these characters mixing together, going, right, I'll go that way, I'll go and talk to that person, I'll talk to that person. And it is really, really good, because you see them having to go, right, okay, I've got to think like a detective now, how am I going to do it, how am I going to put, and I just loved it. V.M. Burns for me is one of the best cozy mystery writers that I've read. I've read a number of her books, and I just adore them. They are brilliant, and I just hope she keeps writing and keeps writing such fabulous cozy mysteries. I give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Go get it, guys. As I say, it comes out on the 11th of August, so if you can get your hands on it, I would highly recommend you do. If you haven't read any other V.M. Burns, I would go get them on our backlist because they are very good. So I hope you've enjoyed this little sort of video. Oh, hold on. Hi, I forgot there was one other book I wanted to talk to you about, and that is Snowed Under by Mary Feliz. I hope I haven't butchered your name. This again was given to me by Netgalley and Kensington Publishing, and obviously Mary herself. Thank you again very much. I gave this a 4 out of 5 star. This story is again a cozy mystery. So you have Maggie and Tess, and it's part of a series. So I jumped into the series at this point. I haven't read any of the ones beforehand. I didn't feel I needed to. I felt that I was quite comfortable just reading this as a standalone. But this book takes place at Lake Tahoe, and Maggie and Tess have a dog each, one called Belle, one called Mozart. Now, Maggie is coming up to Tess's ex-husband's cottage in Lake Tahoe with Tess to try and clear it out. Her husband has passed away and they want to sell the house. The journey up is not what you would call brilliant because it's obviously there's a snowstorm, etc, and they're having to drive in those conditions. They get to the house and I don't know if it was that night or I can't remember if it was that night or the next day, they find this body in the snow, and basically it's then they're trying to help the local law enforcement along with the other people in the community to find out why this guy was murdered, try and help look after the family. And it's basically about a community pulling together to try and help a family, to try and work out why this person was murdered, who did it. And it was really well written because it was like happening during and before another like blizzard. You got all of the snow as well. You got all of how they coped with the blizzard, how they coped with all the snow, how they got food, how the community looked after each other. So you had all of that tied in as well as the cozy mystery bit. It was so well done. The characters were great, whether that be the subsidiary characters within the community or those that were involved, the two main characters, and also the police people who were involved with trying to find the murderer, basically. It was really good. It was my first Mary Feliz, and I'm hoping it's not going to be my last because I really like the way she wrote and I like the characters. So again, this one came out, now when did this one come out? Oh heck, I haven't written it down. What I'll do is I'll find out when this came out and I'll put it on a card for you. But again, would highly recommend it. If you're looking for a nice, just cozy mystery to snuggle yourself up with, this would be one of the ones, along with a V.M. Burns. But I hope you've enjoyed this mini book review, and I haven't rambled on enough or given away too much plots. Again, thank you to Netgalley, all the authors and all the publishers for allowing me to have these art copies. I really appreciated that, and I've enjoyed reading all the others that you've given me, and I have another but 4 to go. And as I say, once I've read them, I will just do another big review video like the one I've just done. And I hope you enjoy this. Please let me know down below if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned, or if you want to know more information about the books. As I say, I try and do these without giving any spoilers away. But if you want to know more about the books, please let me know down below and I'll get in touch with you and we can chat about them. But would I recommend all the ones I've talked about today? Yes, I would. Very much so. Even ones that I maybe only give 3.5 stars out of. Although they're maybe not, I didn't think, wow, yeah, brilliant. I did enjoy them. Just maybe less so than the ones that I really enjoyed. So yes, I would recommend them all. And I hope you like reading them. Bye.